Friendo Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to the Going in Raw, the only podcast you can be listening to right here at youtube.com/Stephen Larson. We'll just get into it so you can take that thing off. Yar! It's Pirate Week here at Yar Going in Raw. Larson, let's hear some shanties. Some
shanties?
Isn't what sea shanties?
Sea shanties? I don't know any sea shanties.
Here comes your Larson pirating on the bay. The bay is the thing, and he's pushing himself away.
Lucky for you, I pushed myself away from my desk. Otherwise, you wouldn't have anything to rhyme with
Where's
bay.
the eye patch? Yar.
Gives me a headache. I'm not going to wear it.
Can you just put it in front of your eye?
Here, here's the one that came with the whole deal that has the elastic strapped through a couple of holes so you can plainly see it, or the eye patch. It's breaking kayfabe all over the place.
What a terrible.
I do have the sword. Yar. I got puffy shirt. Puffy shirt's really the thing.
What is this for? Mania predictions?
Yeah.
Oh,
because it was all pirate themed and such.
Oh boy, where's my? I got to highlight. Man, look at all this. Where's my IWGP type?
Well, you haven't won that yet. You still haven't won this one either.
That's yours still. There we go. Just one side. IWGP away from being Ultimo. Not Ultimo yet. Anyways. Nope. So yeah, welcome back Going in Raw, everybody. It's Pirate Week. Larson is dressed like pirate. Hopefully he'll sing us some sea shanties at some point, maybe during Friendo Mail. I don't want to look like a pirate.
Well, I want to look like a pirate.
So anyways, yeah. How was your weekend? Was it a good weekend?
Well, I mean,
I saw you yesterday.
Yeah, it was. We watched Impact for billing. Yeah, it was fine. It was good. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a decent weekend. I don't know why. I felt like crap on Saturday. I don't know why. I just laid around and did a whole lot of nothing. I don't know. It was one of those weird things where I couldn't put my finger on it. Like, I just didn't feel good. I had I took my temperature. Temperature was fine. I don't know what it was. I just didn't feel good. I felt a little bit.
Did you feel under-rested or what?
Yeah, maybe. I was just tired, and I tried taking naps, and I took a 2-hour nap on Saturday. I woke up, still didn't feel great. So I don't know what it was. Anyways, I feel great now. It's Monday. I feel like $1 million for some reason.
Yeah, who'd thunk?
So of course yesterday was Rebellion, and much like Steve with his column of titles right here, we have ourselves a new triple champion now. One Kenneth by God Omega, is now AEW champion, AAA champion, the Mega champion, and he's also the now the Impact World champion in a pretty thrilling
TNA and the TNA champion.
And
they recognize that belt.
Oh yeah, and the TNA World Heavyweight champion.
So he's got 4 belts.
So he's got 4 titles, just like me, and it's pretty great. It was actually shockingly not an overbooked.
Yeah,
match.
They were setting it up for it to be an overbooked mess, and I guess that in of itself was the swerve. We were all expecting some overbooking thing because there's 2 refs. You got Brian Hebner, who earlier on the show, Tony Khan was like, "Hey, hey,
yeah.
what'd your dad do?"
Oof.
And so he wanted an AEW referee there to assure no screw job would go down. So Aubrey Edwards was ringside. There was an instance where she had to get in the ring because Kenny Omega pushed Hebner in his way, and Hebner ate a cutter. But she didn't come into play for the finish. Yeah, I mean, all the ingredients were there. You had Tony Khan and Jerry Lynn and Tony Schiavone sitting ringside. You had Scott D'Amore just behind the curtain. They kept on showing shots of him.
Very ominous, the shots of him. Yeah, it was very ominous. He was just
where he's sweating, losing, his champion losing.
Yeah,
and his belt's going to AEW. But in the end, there was no screwy finish. It wasn't overbooked at all.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. I think we were both a little bit surprised at that. So yeah, but otherwise I thought Rebellion was a lot of fun. I mean, it always helps. It's one of those things, dude. We talk about it here on the show sometimes. Obviously we got the Enforcer there with us as well. Because we don't do like recaps right afterwards. We don't have to sit there and take a bunch of notes. It's fun. It's like on Thursdays, we sit down, we talk a lot of shit. And we power rank food items. We watch Impact with all the friendos on a co-stream. It's a grand time. And so these pay-per-views are a lot of fun as well. We got the Impact title up for grabs and the Trios title up for grabs. So it makes things fun. And yeah, it was just, but I will say Impact has a lot of really good things going on. If I'm If I'm like a casual wrestling fan and I'm like, man, I just want a really efficient, well-booked show, Impact's kind of the thing. It's 2 hours a week. They've got pay-per-views like basically every 6 weeks or so. Like they've got the Impact Plus pay-per-views, but then they also have like the regular pay-per-views, which are like the bigger deals.
Yeah.
But man, they've got a killer women's division. They got a killer women's tag division. They've got a killer tag division. They got a really great X division, and they've got the main title scene now with AEW champion Kenny Omega being the top guy.
Yeah, so that was kind of the thing with the top of the card, if you will, the men's division for Impact is outside of Moose. Like Rich Swann, I think is a really good wrestler. He's really good.
He's an
excellent wrestler.
Yeah, sure.
And there's some other really good potential top of the card talents. Think about Impact. They're top of the card in the men's division. It's kind of lack depth.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And now you bring Kenny in. He carries those belts for a bit. You really build up Moose, kind of parallel to Kenny having his reign. You have Moose take those titles off Kenny at some point. That's going to be a pretty huge deal.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're probably right about that. It'll be interesting, what kind of road they take. Obviously, Kenny's been doing some work there in Impact. He's had a couple matches up until last night. So, obviously with Callis being that guy who's sort of the go-between, I have no doubt. And especially with Impact's taping schedule, it's like, I believe if Fightful is to be believed, which I'm sure they are, they only have, I think between now and July, they've got like 2 really, really long days of tapings or something like that, or two taping.
Two. I think they were taping yesterday and
like
today or tomorrow or something like that. And then
there's one more
in May. They're having another block of tapings.
And that's
going to get until July.
Right, exactly. I think that's till Slammiversary. So, they seem to have a pretty efficient schedule there.
Before we get to the match by match results here, let's talk about that Slammiversary tease they had, because they showed a lot of former TNA Impact talent, including some who were just recently released by WWE. Of course, Mojo was fairly prominently featured.
Yes,
in this tease, as was Chelsea Green. There's also shots of Naito, of Kazuchika Okada, amongst others. And so of course, last year at Slammiversary is when the Good Brothers came over, and I believe Eric Young came back. They were all just released. In April of last year.
They had preceded that show with a similar tease as well, featuring some stars, I think, who didn't end up going to. Did they? Was
they had that commercial of someone sitting in a chair with like a glass of whiskey watching TV or something like that?
That I don't remember.
Leading up to Slammiversary last year.
It could be. I don't remember that. But yeah, I mean, look, they had all these people under their, these are all people who have been featured in the past on Impact. So it's a clever way without hopefully, rankling any feathers, I guess, of people who they might want to bring in potentially for that. You don't want to be, if you want to try to go after Samoa Joe, you don't want to piss the guy off in advance of doing that.
Yep.
But I'm sure everybody who is in this, they know that it's a business, and Impact is well within their rights to use footage that they have and they own. But yeah, I guess, the general idea is, especially these days, anything can happen. You still have FinJuice with those Impact championships, and they're primarily a New Japan act. And so, these days, that's one of the points that Don Callis was hammering home last night in his promo and his interview thing. Pretty much anything can happen. We're all making history here with all this Forbidden Door, invisible hand stuff. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, Slammiversary, like I said, is in July. Both WWE has said they want to run live shows the second half of this year, which July would be the early part of the second half of this year. JR has said that AEW would like to run in July with fans. And yeah, it would not shock me at all if Slammiversary was Impact's return to having fans in some capacity there in the Impact zone.
Yeah, it seems entirely possible come July for Slammiversary that they could have fans in attendance for that show.
Adrian C. points out here they showed EC3, Mike Bennett, and a Bulgarian flag in last year's vignette.
Yes.
Bennett, of course, went to Ring of Honor. EC3 did go to Impact,
Briefly,
and obviously
yeah.
Miro was Miro. Miro's COVID thing? Didn't he say that it prevented him from going to AEW earlier? Was that the case, or did he ever say that?
That could be.
We made this joke on last night's show. Our new show is basically us saying, "Wait a second, did this
happen?" And then sometimes we check to see if we're right. More often than not, we don't.
I think maybe. Yeah, I don't think he was ever actually supposed to go to Impact, but I could be wrong.
No, I don't think so either.
I don't think he was. So, anyways, yeah, we'll see who ends up showing up at Impact. Could be anybody.
Or it could be none of the above. You never know.
Yeah. So anyways, you want to dive into these results here?
Sure. Let's get into it. The show kicked off with an X Division title match. Josh Alexander, Ace Austin, TJP. Of course, Ace Austin coming to the match as champion. Somewhat surprisingly, he didn't leave as champion. Josh Alexander's been doing some really awesome work of late. He had a great showing in this bout. And surprisingly, pinned the champion to win the X Division title after hitting his finish, basically like a J Driller type move.
Yeah.
It was a really good match. It was a good match. Ace Austin was getting his leg worked over quite a bit.
Yeah.
By Josh Alexander. There was a couple sequences where Josh Alexander would have I think he had a Ace and ankle lock, and then TJP would come and try to do some sort of abdominal stretch or octopus type hold. There were some good sequences in this match. It was a lot of fun. Good match. Josh Alexander, your new X Division champion.
I'm looking at this. I sort of made this joke yesterday about how I was wondering what kind of turnover there is for the X Division. It's actually, the title reigns are relatively, they average, it looks like, around 3 to 4 months. Ace Austin had it for a little over a month, about 5 weeks. TJP / Manic had it for 3 months. Rohit Raju had it for 120 days. Chris Bay had it for a month. Willie Mack had it for about 3 months. Ace Austin before that had it for 171 days. They're generally over between 3 and 6 months is the usual amount of a title reign for the X Division title. So, this is a bit on the shorter side of a title
It is,
reign.
which made me wonder if they're setting Ace Austin up for something down the line. Perhaps if Kenny's going to hold that title till the fall, till after he may lose the AEW championship to Hangman Page, and maybe we'll get an Ace Austin Kenny Omega match at Slammiversary.
Yeah, that could be.
Who knows?
2015 was a mess for the X Division title. There was a bunch of weird, in September to 2014. Oh, okay. So this is when people would vacate the title, the option C thing. There was a whole span of time here between September. Yeah. The X Division's been it's been around a little bit. Anyways, it was a really fun match though. Good for Josh Alexander. Hopefully this really helps his solo run now.
Yeah,
fun wrestler.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, he is totally. After that, 8-man tag team bout, Violent by Design, taking on Chris Sabin, James Storm, Ed Edwards, Willie Mack, of course. Eric Young has a bum knee, has a torn ACL. He couldn't compete. Instead, he was replaced by the debuting W. Morrissey.
I am human and I need to be loved.
Yeah,
the same guy?
No, that's
okay.
Morrissey.
Yeah,
singer.
He's kind of a scumbag now, isn't he? Now this is big cast. He looks amazing.
Oh, he is cut.
And how great of a redemption story is this for Big Cass? Of course, he had gone through some issues with substance abuse, in some unfortunately public ways, and now he seems to have his head on straight. He looks amazing. I love, by the way, the name. Obviously it's his actual name, but just the W Morrissey. I think that's great. That's awesome. That's what a cool way to present himself.
Yeah.
He looked absolutely great. Obviously he's WWE big, so he's actually huge.
Yeah, he's humongous. We got to interview him and Enzo that one time. years back. I think it's 2016. And yeah, he's legit huge.
He is legitimately huge, and it shows against these guys here. Just absolutely massive. He hit East River Crossing on Willie Mack for the win. Yeah, so now Violent by Design, they've got this big giant monster dude.
Well, to go with the other giant they have in Confused Cowboy.
Yeah.
He's huge too.
They should go after those tag titles. Yeah, dude, I don't know, man. I think that I don't know how long Morrissey's going to be there. Because WWE, they could snatch him right back up. Like they really could. I don't know if they have any plans to, or if they want to see, hey, we'll keep our eyes on this guy. He's always been, ever since he got released, he's always been saying the right things. Like when he got released, he was like, yeah, I know why, and I understand, and I have to do better. So yeah, hopefully he stays clean and healthy, man.
Yeah, I hope so. After that, he had a grudge match between two friends and podcast co-host Matt Cardona, who had some great looking entrance gear. It's very Nasty Boys inspired with
nasty. Like imagine Aleister Black and the Nasty Boys.
Yeah,
it had like the bone spikes on it. It was cool
with like Jackson Pollock paint splatter on it.
Right.
He took on the most professional wrestler, Brian Myers. I guess we should have seen this coming with Brian Myers picking up the win, considering that we know for sure he is actually signed with Impact. I don't believe I know one way or the other whether Matt Cardona has signed any sort of contract. But Brian Myers picked up the win after a couple clotheslines. It's a spot where Matt Cardona kind of leaped over Brian Myers, landed kind of funny on his knee. It was kind of unclear whether that was part of the story of the match, which kind of seemed like it, but then he was on Twitter saying that his kneecap was back in place again. Whether he was kayfabing, on Twitter or not, who knows? But hopefully Matt Cardona is okay. Brian Myers picks up the win, and I guess now he has sole ownership of their podcast. Is that right?
Yeah, that sounds right. That's how Going in Raw is going to end up, anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Although you and I were both each going to be trying to lose so that we can just hand it off to the other guy.
Probably, yeah. We'll fight over who the ownership of the Raw recap.
Yeah,
Now this be constant finger poke of doom attempts.
Exactly. So yeah, he tweeted this out. You mentioned this, but he tweeted this out. This is exactly what he tweeted. He says, "Hopefully not as bad as it felt. Kneecap is back in place. Thanks, guys." I kind of feel like that was a work. Nobody's mentioned. Like usually you'd hear, what is this? So skullsmedia.com tweeted out a GIF of it happening, said Matt Cardona was injured and the X was thrown up, and Matt responded to that, hopefully just a scare. Thanks for the concern. Probably, he's trying to say, hey, I'm okay. I'm fine.
Yeah.
It's all part of a story.
I mean, because if your kneecap gets dislocated, that's kind of a major deal.
That's a major. Probably hurts a lot more than he was letting on to.
Yeah, I don't think you can just kind of slide that back into place and just go on about your day. I mean, you can. I've never dislocated my kneecap, thankfully.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, they pretty quickly got back to like the finish of that match, which was Brian Myers taking advantage of said knee injury and then just completely annihilated him with a couple of lariats. So yeah, I mean, they'll probably have a return match once that knee injury, quote unquote, heals up. He was also shouting out a lot. This is kind of cool. Just a quick shout out. Chelsea Green has her own podcast now.
Yeah, saw that.
It's called, what is this called? 50 Shades of Green with Hot Mess Chelsea Green. So be sure to check that out. It's available wherever podcasts can be found. It's probably wildly entertaining because she is pretty great.
Next, we had the Knockout Tag Titles, the champions, Kiera Hogan, Tasha Steelz, taking on Jordan Grace and Rachel Ellering. And we have new tag champions.
Yeah.
Jordan Grace, Rachel Ellering picked up the win. Ellering pinned Hogan after like a fisherman spine buster. I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of like a fisherman buster, but then it was forward rather than backwards.
Yeah.
It was interesting.
Like, yeah, it was pretty cool. So, Frederick the Dino says, if Sean Ross happens to be believed, the impression that Frederick the Dino got from him is that it was legit. R. Lopez Ortiz says, I think that happened to Pat Mahomes and he only missed like a week or something. So maybe it was, I mean, dude, it looked legit when he landed on it, but like, you never know. You never know with these things.
I was really impressed with the sell. I was like, wow, that's a really good sell.
I know. Maybe it was real. I don't know. Just saying, tough dude if that was real. So anyways, yeah, you never know with these when they bring somebody in. I'd heard that they were doing some stuff with Rachel Ellering. But you never know, okay, is she there for like one set of tapings? She's going to come in, get this loss. And then like you were mentioning, is Jordan Grace on a longer story to find a tag team partner to get these titles? Evidently, Rachel Ellering is the person. And yeah, we have new knockout tag champions with Rachel Ellering actually getting the win here over Kiera Hogan. Like you mentioned, that weird fisherman spinebuster type thing.
It's a fun match, though. It's a good match.
Yeah, no, it was a really fun match. Rachel Ellering, man, she is absolutely terrific. She's one of those wrestlers who, like, everything looks legit. Everything looks crisp. Everything looks, pretty damn good. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing them probably have a rematch with Hogan and Steels.
Yeah,
in the near future, yeah.
All right, let's talk about this last man standing match. Sami Callihan versus Trey Miguel. So one of your complaints,
boy,
we'll bring it back to Will Hobbs versus Christian, is that it was pretty much essentially your problem with the story was that Christian got worked for 10 minutes, then hit his finisher to get the win. He got some offense in, but he was getting worked.
He was getting worked, yeah. The kill switch just booked as a really strong legacy move that he can hit, and it annihilates people. And by the way, as soon as I brought this up to Caljack, because I was like, dude, listen, if you ever find yourself in AEW, you walk in there and they say, hey, you're gonna wreck Christian, and then he's gonna hit you with the kill switch, just remember these words: doesn't work for me, brother. All right, just Cal, repeat after me, right? So yeah, I mean, but they're doing the thing where the kill switch is just really, really super protected. Yeah. It's really over. And Cal brought up, he says, hey, Hobbs took a loss against like a single orange punch in the past. So okay, maybe that's Hobbs' thing. Maybe Hobbs needs to figure out how not to lose with one move. Continue on with this match, please.
So anyways, if you take what Hobbs did to Christian, maybe double it, including a bunch of moves outside the ring, like power bombs on road cases, pile drivers,
being conservative,
pile driver on the apron,
a second rope pile driver through a table. Granted, the table didn't break, but still, like that actually kind of made it worse.
That might be worse.
Yeah,
that might be worse.
Right.
All of that for Trey Miguel to hit a cutter through a table ringside to get the win. Now I get the idea. I think I get the idea of this because the whole time Sami Callihan has been kind of riffing on what Triple H had to say about Trey Miguel, why he didn't come to WWE. You don't have the passion.
You don't have passion, kid. Yeah.
And if that's the story they were trying to tell with this, I kind of feel like from a production standpoint, they need to make that a bit clear, Because to me, it just seemed like Sami Callihan unloaded on Trey Miguel.
Oh. And
then Trey just wins with a move.
It was ridiculous. It was completely 1,000% abs. And poor Enforcer. Enforcer's in the chat now, by the way, and he mentions dislocated knee can pop back into place. Happened to me before. Sadly, the inflammation from it is worse than the actual injury itself. Thank you, Enforcer, for your personal story of sorrow and misery. But this poor bastard had the trios title basically in the bag had Callihan won because he had a lot on Callihan.
Yeah.
And Callahan's destroying Trey Miguel the entire time.
Annihilating.
To the point that we all figured, okay, so this is the story where this is a big blow-off style match that's actually going to kick off the feud, which is where you were coming from on this. And I bought into that once we were 15 minutes deep and Miguel hadn't hit one move and Callihan had wrecked him the entire time. It's like, oh, wow, this is going to be like a Lesnar Cena thing where he just gets squashed and then Miguel has to find his passion to come back. No,
he found his passion in one move, apparently. In a single move. It was just a cutter through a table.
That was the worst. The worst. But it's Impact, so it's kind of acceptable.
Like I said, I think there's a couple things I felt like they could have done from a production standpoint to hammer home if that was the story they were trying to tell, that was the story they were trying to tell, like some more sequences where Trey Miguel, where he's beating the count, frame the shot. So you see him like literally try to channel the passion he has for professional wrestling just to will himself up. And I really feel like from a production standpoint, we necessarily got that.
You're right. And I think one of the story beats the final story beat might have looked better on paper than it was, in that when he hit the cutter on Callihan, Callahan's basically between two slides at that point. It's two halves of the table. So it's two things. He can't pick himself up. And Miguel was next to the barricade when he finished the move. And so he had that thing right there. All he has to do is basically do a pull up and he's on his feet. Mm-hmm. But it's just, that's not enough for what we just saw. That's like a technicality for what we just saw.
You know, it could have been an interesting approach to this if Trey Miguel was essentially trying to do a rope-a-dope thing where he's trying to wear Callihan out.
Yeah.
He's like, I know I'm going to take a ton of punishment today.
Yeah.
I got it within me to get up. I just got to wear out Callihan, I got to get lucky once, hit that move, and I can get that win. Mm-hmm. That could have been interesting.
I didn't feel like that. I mean, the thing is, I think that might have been, that's probably kind of the story that they were going for also. And it just didn't translate, you know?
I think it's more so because of the production. I mean, if you frame certain shots and get certain reactions, you could tell that story.
That could be.
Pretty effectively.
And also, like, we were listening to commentary, but we were not really paying too close attention to commentary. So maybe if they, you know, I don't know, maybe if Morrow was calling that one, oh, look at him go, the grit that he's going through goo. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Well, I'm sure, like, you could tell us that's the case, but unless we see it with our own eyes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you know, if we see a close-up of Trey Miguel, like, gritting his teeth and doing everything he can to get to his feet, you know, from the production standpoint, you got to see that. You just can't tell us that. We need to see it.
Yeah, I agree.
Next, Impact Tag Titles. Good Brothers challenging Thin Juice.
The devil
came up short.
Yeah.
Juice Robinson rolls up Doc Gallows to get the W after Thin Juice escapes a magic killer.
I mean, dude, maybe the Young Bucks are going to get those titles. Maybe your mad scientist routine during predictions is going to come to fruition on that one, man. I don't know. That could be. Yeah, I mean, this is a regular match, normal match, no shenanigans. Mm-mm. Just second time, Thin Juice got the win. Evidently, New Japan's like, no, one title reign, one cycle is not enough. We need another
through the summer.
Yeah, through the summer. They're going to need that through the summer. Yeah. Or maybe, you know, according to, I think it was Fightful also mentioned that New Japan wants to work with Gallows and Anderson. Maybe they'll go back to Japan and take him there.
That could be.
You know, we got Dominion coming up in June.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit more than a month, yeah. Mm-hmm. After that, Knockouts Championship. Tennille Dashwood challenging Deonna Purrazzo. Deonna Purrazzo, unsurprisingly, retained. Good match, though. Another really good match.
Yeah.
Like, there was not a dud on the whole card.
No, there wasn't. I mean, you can sort of the Trey Miguel match, if nothing else, like, yeah, it might have been silly, but one thing we didn't really hype up too much was the number of insane spots.
Yeah, that Sami Callihan was delivering on the Trey Miguel, yes.
Trey Miguel got murdered. It was insane spot. I mean, I guess we did talk about it, but it was impressive. I'll put it this way. Those spots were very impressive. Those guys, especially Trey, killed himself for that.
The very beginning of the match is Sami Callihan throwing Trey Miguel out of the ring over the top rope. That's how the match began.
Yeah.
He just throws him over the top rope.
There was also, just to rewind a little bit, there was a nasty spot during the women's tag match as well with I think, was it Hogan? I think it was Kiera Hogan went over the top and hit like a cutter thing on Rachel Ellering, I think, on the apron.
It's like stunner on the apron, yeah.
But it looked like she killed herself in the process, and to the extent that Sean Ross Sapp had to get on Twitter and say, hey, everybody, she's okay. Like, he was able to confirm, I'm assuming with her, that she was okay. But it was a really scary move as well.
Yeah. Deonna picked up the win, hitting a Queen's Gambit. Again, fun match. And then our main event, Kenny Omega defeating Rich Swann to win all the Impact belts.
All the titles.
After a one-winged angel and short of a couple top rope maneuvers that didn't go as planned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The match was a lot of fun. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, it was really good. Rich Swann looked a bit gassed towards the finish, which was interesting because he doesn't strike me as the kind of guy who lacks in stamina. But they were going at it pretty hard. And yeah, those two spots sort of on the top, it was just like, oh, what are you guys even trying to do there? But otherwise, it was a really, really solid match. I thought that the thing that I loved was that story beat towards the finish when Omega has Swan like sort of on the ropes there, like literally he's holding his head so that Ed Edwards, basically Mr. Impact, right? I know Moose calls himself, but Ed Edwards has been there forever. And Eddie Edwards is sitting there trying to say, hey, get it together. You can do this. And Omega just sort of leaves him there, goes against the ropes and does a V-trigger right in front of his face. Like just a nasty V-trigger on his head.
I think Ed Edwards did this.
Yeah. So he knows. He's like, man, our title is essentially going to go to a guy who's not even signed here.
Yep.
Just brilliant, really brilliant stuff. Just really sort of heartbreaking storytelling. If you're an Impact loyalist.
Mm-hmm.
It was really, really good stuff. So yeah, Kenny Omega is now, as sort of predicted, AEW champion, Impact champion, and TNA champion. So
and AAA mega champion
for AAA.
Got 4 titles right now.
All
in all, a really fun show. If you haven't had a chance to check it out yet, would recommend doing so. Really good matches across the board. Fun show.
Yeah, good stuff. There is a Raw preview tonight. We got 2 items. I think there's actually a third one too. Sheamus mentioned that he's got an open challenge tonight, I believe.
Oh, that's right. That's his thing now.
Yeah, he's got a thing. Probably be Humberto Carrillo again, though. I mean, maybe he'll have an actual match this time. But otherwise, according to Raw preview, Bob Lashley set to return to... That's not really even a thing. He's their champion. Of course he's going to be there. Also,
you think he'd be there? Yeah,
Drew McIntyre. This is terrible. Drew McIntyre and Braun Strowman once again are going to face Mason T-Bar.
Well, last weekend ended a DQ.
I don't want to see this match again.
We didn't get a clean finish.
You think Mason T-Bar they're not going to put their masks back on, are they?
I would certainly hope not.
They did a backstage interview where they saw that they said, hey, this is going to give us a chance to really define ourselves. Again, backstage interviews that aren't on the show are generally non-canon.
Well, I mean, I kind of feel like that's just talent just saying what they want to say.
Exactly. It's
There's
like
no script handed to them, so
kind of feel that same way about Raw talking Smack though. I feel like that shit's not canon.
And I feel like the performers, the wrestlers themselves, have a much better idea of who their characters are, and then use that voice, the voice of their characters, to speak on those shows or backstage. Whereas whoever's writing these scripts for performers may or may not have a sense of who these characters are.
They may or may not know who these people are.
All right, you want to answer some questions? Yeah,
we got a thread up here on the Twitter.
Chris Kaufman, power rank what the W and W Morrissey could possibly stand for outside of I think it's his first name's William.
Yeah, his first name's William. I'm gonna say winning
wrestler
Wrestler
Morrissey.
Wrestler Morrissey. Winner Morrissey.
Wrestling Morrissey.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing.
Well, one's a verb, one's a noun.
What's the adjective of that then? Look at the adjective.
Well, I guess wrestling could be an adjective. You'd say wrestling shoes.
It's interesting.
Shoes.
Wait, that's a good. Yeah, there we go. R. Lopez Ortiz says wide Morrissey. Dark Dang Lucha says wombat Morrissey.
Interesting.
White Brownie offers up wailing Morrissey. What about Waylon? Like he's a Waylon Jennings fan.
All right. That could be
Waylon Morrissey. There you go. Oh, Jonathan had that too. Oh, here you go. Enforcer says regret, like the way Zayn does it.
Oh, that's good.
With a W. What if it stands for WWE Morrissey?
Yeah, I thought that too.
He's like trying to get it. Yeah. He's trying to get a W-E.
Juan Guerrero Jr., which belt should be next for Kenny? Aldis in the NWA title or Roosh for the Ring of Honor title?
Oh,
I think Aldis is a better chance of actually happening.
Yeah, because they have a relationship there. Yeah, Aldis is a good one.
B-Man, Patrick Sparks, would Impact consider bringing in NZO now that Cass is there? If they did, who would be a good feud?
NZO's been on a pretty he had a match against, didn't he have a match against like Leo Rush recently?
Yeah, I saw a graphic for that, yeah.
Or there was going to be a match. I don't know if they had it or not. Yeah, sure, why not? If NZO if he comes in and is behaving and everybody likes him, sure, why not?
Good feud. Who should they feud against? Good brothers.
Yeah, the good Fin Juice for the titles.
There you go. Alex C. What Smith song should W. Morrissey enter to?
I only really know the one. I mean, How Soon Is Now is a good song, and I think that'd make for a decent entrance song.
What about This Charming Man?
I don't know if I know that one.
Oh, that's a good song. I'm not really into the Smiths very much, but that's a good song.
I think I just know that one.
You just know How Soon Is Now?
Pretty much. It's a good song.
I don't know. It is a good song. I don't know a whole lot of Smith songs. The Wrestle Dude, since Alistair's new segments involve him reading a story, what children's books do you want to hear him read in character? Go the F to Sleep.
That's not really a children's book, though. It's like do you read I would never read that to my kid. That's terrible.
No, obviously not.
That's horrible. One of those ridiculous Seuss books, you know.
Oh, like One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish.
I can't stand that stuff. I can't stand it. It's so I'll listen to Lacey read it to Bama. I'm like, one sock, Sue socks, you socks, me socks. I'm like, I'm infuriated right now.
Really?
Not infuriated, but it's too much. I'm like, it doesn't even make any sense. I like some of the Seuss stuff. Some of the Seuss stuff makes sense. Some Seuss stuff makes sense.
I don't think it's supposed to make sense. I don't know.
I think
if you're reading Dr. Seuss books for the narrative, you're probably gonna be let down. All I'm saying.
I see the point. All
right. Nick, you both start your own wrestling companies. You get to choose your top champion, mid-card champ, tag champs, women's champ. Who are they? Every wrestler from every company is available.
Okay. Walter is my top champion. Mid-card champion. I'm going to have an intercontinental champion. And it's going to be Asuka, because it's going to be an intergender mid-card title.
All right.
And then my TV champion, because I need another, need a TV champion. That's going to be Sting, because I think he'll bring in the ratings.
Interesting.
And then I'm going to have, but the TV title, it's called TV title, but it's really a cinematic title. That's why it's Sting.
Right, so it's the cinematic matches. Gotcha.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Right. And he's going to be feuding with The Undertaker for that title. Women's champions, obviously Becky Lynch. And then women's tag title is going to be Alexa Bliss and Sasha Banks. I just have calendars right in front of me, so it was easy because they're both on those calendars.
All right. My top champ, Big E.
Okay, good.
Mid-card champ. I will go with Shingo Takagi.
Mm-hmm.
Tag champs.
Good.
Lucha Brothers.
Oh, I haven't said my tag champs yet. It's Ilya Dragunov and Sam Gradwell.
All right.
Soviet babies.
Women's champs, Asuka.
That's good.
Maggie, is there one thing you really miss from wrestling that you wish you could bring back? Whether as a fan or now that you do this for work, you've lost the ability to appreciate 2-hour Monday Night Raw.
Holy shit, that was my answer too. I saw this question earlier today and I was like, oh, it's a 2-hour Raw.
2-hour Raw.
That's the thing that I miss the most. It's just not fun. It's so rarely good. Even when it's good, it's still 3 hours to get. Yeah.
It's a time and energy vampire.
Yeah.
Blake Elizondo. Hopefully I avoid the Raw headache tonight. Blake Elizondo, Omega shows up on NXT to collect the title. What current NXT superstar should hold the NXT championship to make this the biggest and or best match possible? You got it.
It's Finn Balor. Of course it's Finn Balor. Yeah.
It's Finn.
I mean, I guess you could make it Adam Cole, but it's Finn Balor. Oh, this is great. Blake Elizondo also says, a Raw Gate mishap fires up, and you're transported to one of these two alternate realities. Every show is the same time slot, but they swap colors and all their associated pros and cons, bad, good writing, etc. Which reality do you choose? So this is basically just which reality do you want the swapped color logos? Raw's yellow, NXT is blue, SmackDown's red, or Raw is blue, NXT is red, SmackDown's yellow. That's what I'm going for because SmackDown's like my favorite main roster show and yellow is my favorite branding. Mm-hmm. NXT, that logo actually looks really cool in red. Raw is blue. Why not just dump the shitty color on Raw?
Wow. I'll go with the first one. I think the Raw is not my favorite show, but I think the Raw logo in yellow looks really good.
Looks pretty cool. Everything looks good in yellow. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, SmackDown red is kind of weird because I'm so used to it being blue, but it's all right.
Yeah.
The blue NXT logo is kind of meh.
But you're kind of meh on NXT anyways.
Well, it's not true. It's just not as good as AEW. The Wild Dude. I've noticed a trend where NXT might go through a slump for a year or two before it enters another golden period. Do you think NXT is headed to another golden period in which wrestlers will helm this period? I mean, I'm hopeful that moving to Tuesdays, no pressure to compete against AEW. They'll relax. They'll tell the stories they want to tell on the time frame they want to tell them. And yeah, it'd be great if we could see more stories a la Gargano Ciampa, which is what I think they're really trying to do with Cole and O'Reilly.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I don't know if I think that NXT is transitioning to a different kind of way of doing things now that call-ups aren't really a thing. So I think they're trying to transition to a period where you're going to see longer tenures there in the promotion. So we'll see. Alex is here. Queen of the Ring is here. She says, in all caps, is Larson wearing the Seinfeld shirt? He lost WrestleMania predictions, Alex. Therefore, it's Pirate Week. It's Pirate Week for Larson.
I don't want to look like a pirate. Yes, Alex, I'm wearing a puffy shirt.
It's a puffy shirt. You didn't
know
know
the hat too.
Yeah, you got to wear it on Good Morning America or the Today Show. It was the Today Show.
It was the Today Show. It was the Today Show. What was it? Matt Lauer making fun of him.
Yeah. Then he blasted it on air.
Yeah. Jason Lewis, which wrestler's theme would you like to hear as a sea shanty?
Yar.
Sami Zayn.
Oh, that's kind of sea shanty-ish, yeah, isn't it? Yeah, that's good. What does anybody? I'll say Aleister Black's. I don't know if they're going to bring his other one back, but I feel like that kind of tells a bit of a story. You know, no man is truly evil. No man is truly good. We're sailing down the seas now. Oh boy.
Hugh Longheavy do going in raw math on God as a wrestler. I assume this is in the storyline with Vince McMahon.
Kayfabe's like terrible, right? Because like didn't he lose against Vince?
I think so.
I think he lost against Vince.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, okay, we start off with our going in raw math criteria.
Being good, of course.
Being good. So being good.
In ring.
First, 3 categories there in being good. In ring.
He
didn't do anything. Do anything. So it's like a 0. He doesn't have any moveset.
Promo. Didn't talk.
He didn't talk, but he did shine through. There was a presence there. Yeah. I'd give him a 5 for promo.
All right, look. Packaging.
It was just white light.
Yeah. But that's pretty iconic for, the look of a deity,
Give him an 8.
Yeah.
Give him an 8.
All right, 13 divided, that's about 4.
About a 4.
4 plus. Okay. All right, kayfabe.
Never won a match.
0.
Because he only had 1 and he lost it to Vince, I think.
Yeah. Legacy. Remember, in professional wrestling.
In professional wrestling, it's pretty underwhelming because is it a fondly remembered storyline? Vince versus Shawn Michaels?
Well, I mean, I think that storyline might be all right in terms of how it was remembered, but the bringing in God into it, I don't know if it's necessarily fondly remembered. How they did,
Yeah. Alex here in chat says Larson. She says, to be honest, Larson is pulling off this look. Can we do just for Alex? Can we do the hat? She's a special guest.
Hold on 1 second.
He threw it on the floor in anger, Alex.
It's because it's giving me a headache because my head is so huge.
Just for a moment.
Fit. Yes, I'll do it for a moment.
You just rip it. All you gotta do is rip it a little bit.
No, I have to cut it. I said I can't rip it. It's got a seam on the side. See this?
Yeah. No man is ever truly good. He has an eye patch too, but it cuts him. We don't want to do that.
I mean, I'll sit here wearing this shirt, but I want to be in physical discomfort for an hour.
You popped Alex on that one.
Gareth, got any memorable backyard wrestling stories? I have never been to a backyard wrestling show.
I'm sad about that too, to be honest with you. I really wish we had, like, how do they advertise? Like, isn't it just like people have friends and they come over?
Maybe there's a message board. I don't know.
Yeah. My favorite backyard wrestling memory is watching on the news when wrestling was at its height in the Attitude Era. The local LA news station did a story about, oh, this might be happening in your backyard if you're not keeping an eye on your kids. And who showed up? The Fallen Angel. Christopher Daniels showed up, like wearing a trench coat, and he would just observe, and he was like looking all disappointed. But really, he's probably in his head, he's like, oh man, we might be able to use those for whatever promotion he was involved in.
I know.
We got this thing coming up called PWG. You kids want in?
Elves Are Us. How long until Omega is defending a title every day and twice on Sunday? 60-minute time limit draws every match.
I'm sure Kenny Omega would love that. I think he'd love that.
Panda Police Club with Alistair making a return. Do you think he could still make an impact, or has the damage been done? What other NXT call-ups can still be saved or damaged beyond repair?
I think I would never believe Bob Roode is a singles guy anymore. I think that ship sailed a long time ago. I think Aleister Black is still, I think that they seem to be doing a rebrand as much as they can. All it really takes is a bunch of wins.
I will say this, though, if they botch this one for Aleister, I'm not going to say the milk's gone bad, but it's going to be hard to go that well a third time and try to make something out of it.
I agree with you. Somebody here in chat mentioned, and this is totally true, Kenny Omega, his Twitter picture is now him wearing the IWGP title.
Oh, wow.
It's coming for it.
Yep.
It's coming for it.
Noob and Company, how will WWE write Asuka off TV? Give them 6 months for Asuka to get her teeth fixed. Live fans to return. Have fans in the women's division worried about her? Enough time for Charlotte and Rhea to feud.
Does
they're going to have a triple threat.
Does she need to get her teeth fixed?
Yeah, my understanding of the reporting on that is that she had the work done because she was out a couple weeks after Shayna, kicked her tooth out. It would just take 6 months for that to heal. That was my understanding, but maybe I misread.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I want her to faction up with Alexa Bliss, be all in black and white. That'd be rad. Joe Ores has a point that I was going to bring up. Is it at all possible that they did that quick title change for Ospreay to get the title because they wanted him and Kenny to have a match, and then Kota Ibushi would take it off of Kenny?
Maybe. It could be.
How crazy would that be?
That'd be pretty nuts.
Zach Grayson said it's been the same profile picture for a year. Really? How have I not noticed that? That's weird.
Dalen Dula, recently while finishing a Zoom call, you're magically transported to the internet. Become trapped in your Zoom window.
No.
You have no idea how to get out, but it seems like you could still make calls. What wrestler do you call for help getting back to the real world?
Okay, well, I can still make calls. Well, Sami Callihan.
Oh, that's good.
He's
good.
He's been a hacker in NXT. He's the ICU guy.
Yeah, it's hard to top that.
Sami Callihan.
SmackDown hacker.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there you go. Yeah. Must have followed.
Maggie gifting some subs to Sir Stomps, the Coke, Kogan, Just Bob, Ski Wo Skis, and Bebop Pro. Thank you, Maggie.
Bebop. All right. I think that's going to do it for us today. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. We'll be back tonight for our live Raw recap right here at the twitch.tv/Steven Larson. Right after that, it'll go up on YouTube and wherever podcasts can be found. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.
Help support Going In Raw today by becoming a Friendo Club TV member. You'll get access to new bonus episodes every week, including Friendo Club Arcade, Live Power Rank, Vintage 10 for the Wins, and Ask Steven Larson. Get access to Friendo Club TV today by becoming a $5 and up patron at patreon.com/Steven Larson, by throwing us a sub at twitch.tv/Steven Larson, or by clicking join at youtube.com/Steven Larson.